Hello everyone, my name is Antonia Villa and this is my presentation for EDL 901 Module 7. This assignment helped me recognize the importance of auditing USD 218's current technology infrastructure to make sure it is supporting and enhancing student learning. The Technology Infrastructure Audit, TIA, is something that USD 218 has never taken part in. I did speak to our IT director who has been here for more than 20 years, and we were visiting about the TIA, and he honestly flat out said he's the only one that truly knows what all devices we have, what all software has been installed, and we both agreed it's a problem. It should be more than one person who's aware of everything that we do have. As I mentioned, USD 218 has never taken part in a TIA, but we do have a technology plan in place. Due to this class, I've taken the time to look through our technology plan, and I did find a lot of different information that needs to be revised. We really need to sit down and look through each page and really update it to what, all the technology we honestly have now and all the different software that has been installed throughout our district. Within the technology plan, we have a committee, and this committee consists of the following individuals: superintendent, all the school principals that we have here. We have a school board member, the technology director, which I mentioned has been here for more than 20 years. And we even have individuals from the community, parents. We have high school teachers, middle school teachers, elementary teachers, and we even include our middle school and high school students. The one thing that I did notice as I looked through the names, again, this plan was updated back in October 2021, and it is a document that gets updated I would say every semester, and so I'm hoping that we get to update some of that information this month. But I did notice that within the committees, we don't have members that represent our diverse students. And it's no fault of anyone, and this wasn't done intentionally. It's just one of those things where we do send out invitations for our diverse families to attend. It's just perhaps maybe we aren't doing it the right way. But I didn't see any representation for ESL students, migrant, McKinney-Vento, or the low SES parents. There's no representation there, so we do need to come up with a better system to be able to include different stakeholders. Now, if I was to lead the technology committee, I would like to first start out with providing a comprehensive needs assessment. I can't imagine that we would even know where to start without knowing what we have, where we want to go, and who has what strengths and how we can use those strengths. I feel that all staff would be asked to complete the comprehensive needs assessment, and some of the example questions would be: what technology do you implement with your daily lessons? What technology are you needing to help improve student learning? What professional development are you needing to help you to become comfortable in implementing technology to improve student learning? We honestly need to ask those hard questions. We also need to be specific on the questions that we ask to relate to the different departments that we have within our school. And it shouldn't just be about what the teachers need. We have really, really strong paraprofessionals who are honestly the glue sometimes between teachers and students, and so We need to find out, what their strengths are, or what would they like to learn to become more comfortable in using technology and implementing technology during small groups or during intervention times. I did highlight the effective practice and data management policies. We do have that in place. These are already set in the USD 218 board policies. I would like to still review them though, just to make sure that we are completely updating everything that needs to be updated. And including in this committee, I would like for the KISA Building Chair Committee and the BLTs to come together so that way we can come up with a strategic vision, achieving learning priorities and improving operations. We don't know what, the building chairs feel that their need is. We have that in place now, so let's use them to be the voice of all the teachers. And hopefully we can come up with something that can work for everyone and not just one department. The recommendations I would include in the TIA would be, first of all, the purpose. It's not a got you plan. No, and the second thing would be we must provide a comprehensive needs assessment, and professional development is also a must. We also need to remember to include student input and then to properly train our staff members. I seen this during COVID, and we couldn't help it. It was one of those things where when someone was strong in Google Classroom, the extra job went to them and training everybody else, and that's fine. We just need to go with a different. We need to use a different way. We need to. I think we need to value those individuals who have some knowledge that the rest of us don't have, and we need to include them in as leaders and help them lead some of the trainings. And then staff members, I did notice we had a few paraprofessionals who were real quick to catch on to Zoom, and they were able to mess around in the chat rooms and then the breakout rooms, and I was impressed with that. And I finally just said, you ladies take over, you train us. And I think that helped them feel a sense of pride, a sense of that they were being heard and they were being valued. I would also recommend a school infrastructure checklist. We need to know what we have, where we're heading, and how we're heading. And so I'll explain the first one. Again, the purpose of the TIA would be to help us find out what we need to help obtain, or how we can help obtain our goal and maximize student and staff learning. It's not a thing of, you don't have this, therefore you'll get written up. It shouldn't be looked at that way. As it was stated in one of the resources that we read, is, we should end up with a very detailed report that will mention the commendations as well as the recommendations. And so we need to look at it that way. The word audit itself, I think, just frightens a lot of people. The next recommendation would be the comprehensive needs assessment. And this is a must because, as I mentioned earlier, we don't know what we have. We don't know people's strengths in technology. And I think it's only, the right way to go is to help develop something off of each other's strengths and not have to reinvent that wheel. And so I would really push for that. And if there was a way that I could even provide a needs assessment for our students, I would love to do something like that. I'm just, every day it shocks me how much our students know about technology. And, I've learned to put my pride aside and say, help me, because, why spend the time trying to figure it out whenever I have a student right next to me or who I can call into the office, and not only will I build a different relationship with that student, but imagine what their self-esteem and the sense of pride and a sense of belonging that they can feel. The next recommendation I would have would be to invest in high quality professional learning. As stated in one of the resources, Equally important is the investment in high-quality professional learning and instructional methodology so teachers enter classrooms ready to use the new tools to support blended and personalized learning for all students. You know, we tend to just assume that everyone's on board with the newest of the new things and new devices, and that's not always the case. There's a lot of people out there who would rather not mess with anything that has to do with technology, or they will take more time than others, and that's all good. But we need to learn to really dedicate time as well as funds to provide the appropriate professional learning time. And, you know, we need to help each other recognize that it's okay to go ahead and think outside of the box and try it. And if it falls to pieces, it's okay. So I really would recommend that we invest in high quality professional learning. As I mentioned earlier, you know, I think sometimes we tend to leave student input out, and it's amazing when kids are given an opportunity to take a lead. As one of the resources mentioned, one goal will be to have students demonstrate their learning in new ways. I mean, that is one of those things where, you know, you give students an opportunity to show what they know. Oh my goodness, they can shine. And so then they feel more a part of the school district. The next recommendation I would provide would be proper training of staff members and staff members cross-training. Once again, I've noticed that, and I'll be very honest with you, one of our other tech guys, he was one of our janitors. For the longest time, he was one of our janitors. And it took one time for one of the teachers to just ask something about a computer. I remember I was working at the high school, and that's all it took, was just that one time to ask him if he knew anything about a computer issue we were having. And, you know, he was quiet. He kept to himself a lot, and he said, "Sure, I do." And I'll never forget, within weeks, he went from being janitor to being another person in another support staff in the IT department. So I think sometimes we just don't know, you know, what our staff knows. And so, you know, he became our second IT person, and he was there for a good 18 years. So it was good for him to, it was good for the teacher to ask, you know, if he knew how to solve the issue that was going on her desktop. We also tend to misuse instructional technology staff. You know, sometimes I feel like a lot of teachers don't want to say how much they really know because they're afraid of the added on duties, because after all, the contracts do say other duties as assigned, and that's miserable. They already have things to do, and then to add on, you know, more, if they're not ready for that, that scares them off. That doesn't seem like you know, we'd go about the proper way of including people's strengths in our training. So we need to be careful how we do that. The last thing I would recommend would be a checklist. Just like, you know, us not having even any kind of needs assessment, that right there is an eye-opener to me. But we still keep purchasing all these different devices. And, you know, one of the questions I made to our tech guy was, and what makes you buy, you know, what helps you decide, oh, we need a smart board in this school, but we need 2 Apple TVs in this school? And, you know, he was very honest with me. He said, you know, I just leave it up to the teachers. Whatever they need, and if I can get, then I go get. Whatever's approved, it's approved. So I think we, you know, for our district, for as much technology as we have, I don't think it's aligned right now. And I think it's time that we do that. When TASN came in, one of the questions they asked was, what are all the softwares you are using? And at that moment, at that time, we had to sit down and write a list of everything. And it was outrageous how much funds were being spent on a software that could honestly, what was being used at the middle school could also be used at the elementary and vice versa. So that was, I think, one of our biggest eye-openers, and that's when we did away with all these different assessments that we were doing. We just need one. We didn't need 4 other ones. But I think it takes those outside eyes, as one of our resources mentioned, that, sometimes it takes people from the outside to come in and just, see what all's being offered. And then from there, they can share, perhaps programs you're using at the elementary, you can go ahead and use those on to in the middle school or in the high school. So we need to be open to that. And the checklist, those are very handy. Because I started thinking, if we do a TIA in our school district, I need to know where I'm starting and where I'm heading. And so that's something that I will use a couple of those checklists that were mentioned in our resources. So thank you for that. Now, the other thing I learned was about E-rate. I had never heard of this before. I honestly haven't, and if it's been mentioned, I guess I just haven't been paying attention. But I did speak to our treasurer, and she did mention that we do get some percentage back each year, but that she does have to turn in various forms, and she mentioned those forms, and I went on to KSDE website to see what those forms were all about. So that was a big eye-opener to me. I didn't realize such forms existed, and I honestly hadn't paid attention to what E-rate was about. So this assignment honestly opened up my eyes more than I thought it was going to. And the simple fact that we can do our own TIA, what a great resource to have. It's just going to take time to, get a committee going and for us to develop a vision. And that vision, though, does need to be included with KISA's vision, with the overall school vision. A few assignments ago, I know we talked about our visions, and we do have a technology vision within our plan, a technology plan. But when I looked at our school district vision and mission, there was not once that technology was mentioned. So I think it's time to revamp those, and that's something that I plan to talk to our administrators and our superintendent. It's just good to learn about these things. These are the different resources that I used, and thank you for your time.